It's been my privilege to work with many of you right here in this office. And right now, I just want to share with you some things that are very important tools and reminders for you to help you, especially as you go back home. You're going to hit some bumps in the road, and you're going to need to talk your way and communicate your way through some of those bumps in the road. And this is a reminder of the tools that you've been given right here. Tools at work, because they're based on the principles of God's Word. And I just want to remind you, first of all, of the Kleenex method of communication. That is based on Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1, where we read that a gentle answer turns away wrath, but harsh words stir up anger. And the Kleenex reminds us to be soft and gentle with the person that we're communicating with. There's so many things that can wound a person when we're harsh, or when we communicate with gestures or body language that expresses anger to another person. And so I want to remind you to be soft and gentle as you talk together. And remember that the person who holds the Kleenex has a right to talk without being interrupted. That means that the other person is not thinking of an argument in their mind. They're not trying to figure out how they're going to answer, but they're just trying to listen, trying to understand what is being said. You'll recall that the second method of communication is the drive-through method of communication. Many of you wore this very headset as I worked with you. And it's based on James chapter 1 and verse 19 that says, everyone should be quick to listen and slow to speak and slow to become angry. It's very important that you listen to be able to really understand what the other person is saying. Please remember not to interrupt one another. Just as in playing a board game, the players need to each take their turns, so you each need to remember to take your turns as you communicate and talk. Interrupting each other dishonors one another. Let me also remind you that it is okay to disagree, but be respectful of one another or of the other person's perspective. Pray about it. Perhaps God will bring you to another idea, even in addition to the things that you've already talked about. And then I want to encourage you to be careful not to put the dark glasses on as you communicate and begin to think negatively about your spouse or jump to negative conclusions. Be sure that you talk your way through things to a point of being able to understand one another. When couples understand one another, they value each other, just as I attach great value to this glass. It's a glass that Brenda allows me to be able to use versus this old coffee cup. And I treat this glass totally different than I treat this coffee cup. Why? Because of who it belongs to. And it's so important that you remember to treat each other with respect and honor because of who each of you belong to. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to this coaching tip, and may God bless and encourage you today.